Hey guys, hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today I just wanted to do kind of a general discussion because there's been a lot of speculation about the fat acceptance movement and the direction that it's headed in. And I want to give my take on it because I think that people don't see it as it is. And I think it's because of the nature of polarization on the internet. So when we look at an issue like fat acceptance, we think about our side, right? So people on my channel, for the most part, you guys are anti-FA, obviously. People on other channels or other, TikTok or whatever, they might be super FA. And basically, the nature of the internet makes things seem very polarized. So what's happening a lot right now is that a lot of sort of bigger influencers in the fat acceptance movement, they are starting to lose weight, starting to shift the narrative, or starting to go away for one reason or another. And I think that this is important. I think that it is a turning cultural tide, but I think it's also important to look at the fact that the FatCon just occurred in Seattle this month. The FatCon was sold out. It was covered on news, and mainstream news was very positive when it came to FatCon. And I think that there's a lot of a sort of lack of black and white thinking. Or there's so much black and white thinking, I'm sorry. It's a little late on this issue that people think, well, my side is winning because people see what they want to see, essentially is what I'm trying to say. But what I would say is, fat acceptance as a movement, it's not necessarily thriving, but it's not really dying either. It's kind of in between. So what I want you guys to understand is that some of the wilder claims that fat acceptance makes, so things like you're not allowed to find a fat person unattractive, things like, being fat is a rebellion against white cis heteropatriarchy and colonialism, right? Like these kinds of takes, they are not mainstream at all. But I think what's important to understand is that there are a lot of takes from fat acceptance that are mainstream. So we don't always think about that, but let's talk about them. Things like being fat is genetic. That is very, very accepted now by the majority of people. Try to tell somebody it's not. And unless if they're an ardent anti-FA, you might find pushback even by somebody who's never even been fat. Well, I don't know. It seems like with some people, people's bodies are just different. That's something that you're going to hear in public now. So what I think is happening is that the more extreme side of fat acceptance is in some ways literally dying off, but in other ways it's being eliminated because of, I think in large part because of the work that people on the anti-FA side do online. It is shaming them. They are leaving, like Marissa Matthews, for example, she's left for the most part. There's a lot of other ones I can't think of off the top of my head, but they are fading away because they can't handle the criticism, which obviously, right? But there are still those that will continue on. There are some that are just getting started and all this stuff. And this movement is very toxic in the sense that just because some people start to lose weight or some people start to die off, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to die. because fatness in general is a very slow build. It's a slow thing. So it gives it plenty of time. And they have done a lot of work within institutions and within things like the mainstream media, and they just passed a bill in New York, for example. Now the bill, I don't think the bill really does much. That's why I didn't cover it, because it was kind of like, in my opinion, it was just kind of like a nominal thing. It didn't really change anything. But a lot of people were upset about it and saw it as a huge victory. And certainly in the fat acceptance movement, they see it as a huge victory. And I do think it is probably the first bill or law that we're going to see in a long stream of them. Mostly championed by thinner people. The do-well thinny. You know? The people that support gaining weight in others, which I've covered on this channel. So that's not necessarily going away. I think that fat acceptance, yes, the extreme side of it is dying, absolutely. But the mainstream side of it, it's still here. It's always been here, to be honest. In America, we've been kind of indoctrinated with a lot of fat acceptance talking points for at least the last 20 years. So it's not going to go away entirely like that. So what does that mean? It means that the issues that people are going to have moving forward are probably going to come from people in their lives. So it's this type of situation where a fat person is trying to lose weight and somebody says, you don't have to lose weight. Why are you trying to lose weight? You know, that's how, you know, women of color are supposed to look. Or you're not fat, like, you don't need to worry about it. Like, you're beautiful. Why are you trying to lose weight? You don't need to do that. That's the kind of thing. It's going to be that sort of sickly sweet and sort of downstream of fat acceptance TikTok that has permeated for quite a while. And again, it was a precursor. These are the kind of things that people heard in the 2000s. And so I think people think, oh, that's great. We're going back to how it was in the 2000s. Like, we're winning. And it's like, no, we don't want to go back. Trust me. I was fat in the 2000s. It wasn't it. Everybody who was fat in the 2000s basically stayed fat in the 2000s. You know, it was like Biggest Loser. It was Atkins. It was a lot of, you know, those types of comments. You don't need to lose weight. You're beautiful the way you are. That type of stuff was very much a thing. Or it's natural. Or what does it matter? Everybody is born like differently, and our bodies all look different, and that kind of rhetoric and that type of stuff. It's still important to fight, but it's not necessarily something that somebody can make a zingy, clickbaity video over or something like that. So what does that mean? It just basically means that in a lot of cases, it's on us. It's on me as a creator. It's on you guys as an audience and the general public to sort of make arguments against this if you see it. You know, just like they encourage people to have difficult conversations or whatever with people that are super big or whatever, you know, or like with people who are worried about people being super big. We need to just like provide a little bit of a counterpoint. And it is important, in my opinion, to not be nasty about it, but be reasonable. And so I think it's going to be more on the public rather than just exalted social media personalities, because those loud, crazy people, they are leaving, you know. So what are you left with? I get comments on my channel saying, I've tried to lose weight before, it didn't work. I just want to live my life. I'm happier now, this type of stuff, right? This is the kind of stuff that you're going to have to deal with, right? Or you hear like, well, I'm made fun of because I'm fat, and I'm not even that big and I get made fun of, so it really matters. It's a big issue. And I don't like that you're trying to lose weight, or I don't like that you're talking about it in this way, or whatever they're going to say. That's something that I think is still incredibly common in mainstream consciousness, especially within younger generations like Gen Z. I think it's dangerous, and I don't say that just to be fear-mongery or like extra. I say that because when you're a little chubby and you think it's fine and whatever, and you're like, maybe you're 40 pounds overweight, and you start out that way, well, I'm still beautiful the way I am, and well, I can still get a boyfriend, so I'm fine, and da 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 da. That 40 pounds over years can become 100, and 150, and 200. Then you can end up like Jay Bay, and you can be gaining like 100 pounds a pop for who knows. I was watching the Body Honesty Project, and she talked about how Jay has gained tons of weight very quickly. It's not good. I will never sit here and say that obesity should be normalized or okay. It's not, but the issue is that it is currently normalized. And it's going to be a process to change that. So I'm going to keep doing my thing. I'm doing the work. It's funny when we say doing the work. I'm doing the work. I'm unpackaging my internalized thin phobia. No, I'm just kidding. But, ooh, I just dropped something. Oh, I just dropped something else. I'm doing the work. Because I told you guys that's honestly what's most important, is that I lose the weight publicly. And so that's what I'm doing. And sometimes I struggle with posting. Odds are, you guys, if I'm not posting, it's because I'm struggling a little bit with my health, or I'm struggling a little bit with the deficit, or I'm struggling a little bit. I told you guys the winter's tough, and we had like this ice blast last week, and it definitely still affected me, but it's warming up again and things are moving forward, and I think I'll be okay. Obviously, I'm still fine, still no sugar. But I am definitely using my willpower. I think typically for me, February is a very challenging month. So I'm I'm just telling myself I'm white knuckling it, and I think it's easier to do that if I just think about it in terms of a month of white knuckling it rather than the rest of my life, right? So I keep trying, gonna keep showing away, gonna keep showing something on here on my end. But on your end, I always will say, just be supportive of people who are trying to get their lives back. If you ever see somebody shaming somebody for losing weight, it might be good to stand up for them, or just be encouraging, or even just cancel it out. If somebody is like, well, I don't know, that's systemic patriarchal oppression and da 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 and whatever, and they're being told that, or you must really hate yourself because you're trying to lose weight. Even if you can't confront that person, even if you just kind of like say, I think it's great, I totally support you, and most people support you, and just say things like that afterwards, even that would be helpful, just because it can be lonely. And I'm very supported, but I've actively cultivated that, and that's something I'll tell my fatties out there, like, you need to have a support system when you're losing weight. It's kind of challenging, obviously. So yeah, but I just want to say the battle is won, but the war is not over. That's kind of my take on this. It's not completely done. So don't rest on your laurels. But don't be like sad about it either. I just think it's important to understand that there could always be a new crop of FAs that come in. It's important to understand that there are a lot of people that are chubby or this or that, and they're struggling to lose weight, and it's like they're maybe not being listened to as much by the doctor and that kind of stuff, and it can be tricky, which that can lead people to TikTok, and then they can start, and it's like, as many people that leave Fat Acceptance, I think it's very possible that another generation is going into it. So just be mindful of it. And if you have young people in your life, like, keep an eye on them, and just see how they're doing with that kind of stuff. Because my biggest thing in terms of obesity, I am definitely a proponent of prevention. I think preventing anybody from getting to a point where it's as difficult as it's been for me, don't go there. Just don't. It's always better. Like, pretty much everybody that's bigger, that has lost weight, wishes that they did it sooner, because it's easier if you're like not mega huge. But that being said, if you are mega huge, there is a way out. I'm trying to show you guys. I'm trying to talk about it. And I actually did a podcast with my friend Lisa. We've officially started. So I do want you guys to check that out as well, where we talk about the thyroid protocol. We talk about an alternative way of losing weight that has been working for both me and her. And I would really love if you guys checked it out. That's where we have a lot of the research. We have a Substack where the research is there. A lot of you guys were asking about that. And we kind of show our argument and our stance on how to lose weight and what's been working for us. So please check out the podcast. I'd really appreciate it. Link in the description. And if you are really big and you've tried everything, you might want to watch it. You might want to listen to it. It might be something interesting for you to hear. But for the rest of you guys, and for everybody, I just want to thank you guys so much for being patient with me. Like I've told you, it's tough sometimes. I'm going for the gold this year. Really my only resolution this year is to just lose as much weight as I can, which means starting as early as possible in the year, which is what I'm doing. So, yeah, I will keep you guys posted as always. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys soon. Bye.